Today we're at Manhattan's Nomad Hotel, and we're talking to a gentleman who is both a watch collector and a practitioner of the ancient and arcane art of stage magic. His name is Dan White. He's the Magician at the Nomad, and today we're talking watches.
I want you to just touch the back of one card. That one right there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's about 3 cards left. You ended right on this card. I want you to look at it. Actually, it doesn't even matter if I see it. Everybody take a look at it. 7 of spades. All right, here's the thing. If we take the 7, I'm just going to sort of rip. I want you to actually bring your ear up here. I want you to hear this. I'm going to rip the corner. Can you hear that?
I certainly can.
Right off, just like this. If you take the corner, I put it in my other hand, just like that. Here's the interesting part.
Okay.
It disappears. But do you have any idea where it might have gone?
Not a clue.
Just watch. Just watch. 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 No. Well, you watch. No, watch.
Oh.
Underneath your watch. Hey, look at
That's
that.
extremely upsetting.
Matches perfectly.
Oh boy. So there's a really interesting parallel, I think, between the world of magic and the world of watches. You know, both are sort of concerned with time in all sorts of obvious ways. And they're both pretty rooted in a past that most people don't have a real connection with anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely. And especially, I mean, there's that like crossover too at some point with magicians like Robert Houdin who made these amazing, wonderful, mysterious clocks. And it's interesting to see how that sort of mentality kind of goes through both professions or both interests. And I think that sort of is why I've always been drawn to watches. I think there's a connection there. It's like looking at things sort of backwards. You know, magic at the end of the day is this big puzzle that people don't see. They see that front, that end result, but there's so much stuff that goes behind it. And it's the same thing with the watch. I mean, you at the end of the day, you see the time, but behind it is all of this work and all of these crazy things going on just for this one result of giving you something very practical.
How did you find your way into this equally kind of, for many people, sort of arcane, very specific world?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I always, bought like, the swatches and the Timexes and things like that. And I remember like the very first moment that I was like, wow, okay, that's a really nice watch is when I saw this movie, Vanilla Sky. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh, sure.
Tom Cruise is in it and he was driving down the street and there's one shot where he just looks at his watch. I was a kid, but I just was like, wow, that watch is beautiful. So I like paused the VCR and I was like, okay, what is this thing? And so I had to find it. It was not as easy as it might have been today, but I found out the watch was this watch, actually, the IWC Mark 15. I'd never heard of IWC before. I didn't know that was an important brand. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew that I liked the way it looked and I had to have it. And then I found out the price and I was like, oh my God, I mean, I was a kid. So it's like, okay, from now on I'm gonna save up to buy this thing.
I mean, it's a great way to start. You know, the Mark series of watches were an early first love for so many of us.
Yeah, and but it's what's the reason? I mean, what's the reason why this stands out? And I just think it's just beautiful simplicity. There's a masculinity to it. There's a simplicity to it. It's just telling you exactly what it needs to do. And it was a visually stunning thing for me, and it was a wake-up call.
So is it associated with a special occasion or?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I graduated high school, my mom helped me out and met me halfway to get the rest of it.
Pretty
and
fantastic.
yeah, that was the thing. Worn this for a long time. I've did 2 TV shows on like the Discovery Channel and the Travel Channel. Both times I've worn this watch through those TV shows, and that's sort of an interesting thing, like having a TV show and being able to like go back and say, what watch was I wearing during that thing?
Right.
And so after that point, I started like, actually, so I got this one in between. My sister gave me one of these because she knew how much I love watches. And she knew, as a magician, a struggling magician, the cash was not an option. And buying watches, the thing that I loved, it was like couldn't do it. So she gifted me this one, which is the Cartier Pasha, which I wore for a long time as well.
My sister never gave me anything.
I know, it was a pretty nice gift. She's a very nice sister. And then started doing more and more gigs, and one thing led to another, and I finally was able to get, just the simple, iconic Datejust. And that's when I really fell in love with Rolex. So started with that. 36 worked fine for me. One thing that I always loved just about Rolexes are the Jubilee bands. Even going back to the show, my sort of obsession with nostalgia, and I don't know why, but I think that the Jubilee is kind of nostalgic for me. It's like sort of this old man classic thing, and I think that's a good thing. I love the fact that it's got like this old world classiness to it.
And again, was this associated with any particular occasion?
Yeah, it was. I just had done a really big gig, and I was really proud of it. And I was like, all right, it's time to pull the trigger. Yeah. It's now or never. I've been wanting this thing for so many years.
So between this, and this, your repertoire of effects has increased.
Yeah, the bag of tricks has got a little bigger for sure. And it's always interesting to, before I go out on stage or to do a gig, like that thought process where I sit down and I look at the watch and like, okay, which one am I going to wear? And that's sometimes the hardest decision that I have, because I know what I'm going to do, I know, generally what I'm doing, but before I walk out the door, I'm like, okay, what should I wear this time? And then I switch back and forth in my head, and I think a lot of watch guys go through that feeling of like, what do I want to wear? I haven't worn this in a while.
And how did this guy come along?
This guy came along after I started doing this show.
Okay.
Yeah, I started doing this show, and I was really happy with how it was going, and I decided that, especially moving away from sort of the elegance to more of the sporty, chunkier sort of thing, and I think that just having the weight, the size, that really did it for me, and I just have still been obsessed with Rolex, and I think Rolex in itself is very magical. It's kind of this brand that there are a bunch of magicians over there. It's all so mysterious. Everything is hidden. No secrets are given. In this world, this time of everybody leaking every single thing, no leaks. And that mystery is something that drew me to magic as a kid, but it also draws me to this brand. And I think there's very few brands that are able to really not tell you anything and not put out as many things as you expect them to do and really kind of hold back. And I kind of like that being able to hold back.
And none of that works if the quality doesn't speak for itself.
Absolutely.
And now, of course, moving right up into the present, we have a watch that for many of us is a very big deal indeed.
Yeah, and this wasn't surrounded by any special occasion except for the fact that I was able to get it. That was a special occasion. That's been one of the best magic tricks that I've done so far. Getting it was the occasion itself. When I had the ability to, it was like, all right, drop everything, here we go. And it's so beautiful. It's like, I enjoy it every day. And it's definitely the thing that I wear the most now. And in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, time for another one, but I don't want to stop wearing this yet.
Sure. So 5 watches, each of which represents a particular stage in your personal and professional life.
Except for these first 2, all of the Rolexes have been featured on the Tonight Show appearances.
The Magician, Dan White!
And each one, I remember the exact first trick that I did with it. It was a trick with a spike where I was slamming down cups with spikes underneath them. And I don't think this pairs well with that trick so much, but I had the watch and I was wearing it. Nothing was going to stop me. Those memories, last forever, and I can never not think about those appearances without thinking about these watches, and I can never not watch those performances and not see these watches on my wrist. And that's what I love about watches, is because they're so special to the time of your life. It's a marker of the time now, but it's also a marker of your own life,
So, next piece, you have your eye on anything in particular?
So the 2 pieces that, actually I have 3 pieces that are back and forth every single day. It's like, oh, today I feel like I want this. Next day I might feel like I want this. But I really love the new Tudor GMT. Talk about nostalgia. It's beautiful. It's just perfect. Also, another nostalgic piece. I don't have a Speedmaster, and it feels like a big chunk that's just missing, and it almost feels like I want it just because of the fact that I don't have it. And then one thing that's been just sort of going through my head for a long time, and back to my love for the Jubilee and that sort of style bracelet, I really want a president, especially the date 40. That's sort of my grail. It'll come. I'm just waiting for the right day. You need the right occasion.
Yeah.
And it's weird how it's like, once there's the occasion, I'll buy the watch. And so I'm actually waiting for the occasion more so than anything else. I've got a deck of cards here. I want you to think of a card that you see. You got one?
Yep.
Get one in your head. Keep that in your mind, and I want you to say it over and over in your head. Now, again, you could have thought of any one of these cards. Keep it in your head. Now, in a deck of cards, there are high cards, right, like kings and stuff, and then there's low cards, obviously the smaller cards, and there's medium-sized cards. I want you to hold your hand out. Hold that hand out for me, please. And I'm going to place the deck of cards in your hand just like that. Hold it so it doesn't fall. Actually, extend your arm out if you wouldn't mind. We're going to sort of go back over here. Perfect. Hold right there. Don't let them fall.
Okay.
Good. All right. If you were to say, actually, look at me, look at me. Think of your card. Is a high card?
It is.
Okay. Good, all right. I'm gonna commit myself. Hold your hand a little bit lower. Right there. I'm committed. Wait. Before you turn it over, what was the card?
Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts. It's so crazy.
Oh, come on. I have to say, it's an amazing experience. You know, seeing first-rate, close-up stage magic. It's not an experience most people get to have nowadays. It's a fantastic experience you've created.
Yeah, it's definitely, most people have not been to a magic show before.
Yeah.
You know, like live magic show. You've always seen it on TV and there's always that skepticism, but it's really very often that people come up to me afterwards saying, this is the first magic show I've ever been to, at least since I was 12. So, you know, the reason why I love magic is because that feeling that you got just for that 1 second, because I know when people feel it is really great. I don't even know how to exactly describe it. I mean, it's astonishment, but it's like there's sort of just this, oh my God.
I think it opens you up a little bit psychically.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
To really, truly have no choice but to experience a sense of wonder.
Yep, and that's the reason why I do magic. That's the reason why I give, just to be able to give you that 1 second.